Good afternoon.
Wow.
Hey, welcome in. Happy Monday. Ducks and Beeves. It's game week. Let's go.
Hey.
Cougs and Huskies, too. We've made it.
Applause.
We've made it. It's game week. NFL's preseason, dead, gone, done, goodbye. College football's regular season, it's officially here.
No one
We've
happier
made
by
it.
the end of preseason than Trey Lance.
Holy guacamole. Boy, he was bad. He was really bad. We're going to have to dive in. There's a lot of
A lot of crappy Cowboy stuff.
but we also, it's actually worthwhile Dallas Cowboys conversations.
That's never true.
Not, is this going to be the year they win it? Hey, it's almost been 30 years. This going to be the year they win
It's
it?
the year they self-destruct the fastest.
Oh, wow. That's it.
Oh, this is setting
You
up.
like that.
This is setting up for just an all-time meltdown.
You would hate to see it.
Oh, truly.
You would just, I mean, you don't want to see it. You'd hate to see it. You know, it's just a hard.
What could go wrong with paying a bunch of guys when you don't have anything going forward?
I mean, I don't see the problem with it. I don't see the problem.
Definitely
In
not.
my eyes, I don't see the problem with it right now. You know, not everybody has their quarterback of the future like the New England Patriots with Drake May.
I saw him step up and throw a pretty nice ball.
You see that third down scramble? You see that third down scramble he had? Third
Talking
and
yourself
14,
into it,
huh?
I like it.
Oh, I talked myself into it after week 2 of the preseason. We know this. We'll move over Tom Brady. We got to get that room in that trophy case already. Drake May looked really good in the preseason. Just sit him for a while, and then he's going to be great. He's going to be awesome. Everybody have a good weekend, though? My weekend's great. Football.
Yeah,
Football's
no,
back.
I footballed really hard.
Yeah, didn't ya?
I did.
Saturday was fantastic.
The
I just footballed a little bit Saturday morning.
Yeah?
I footballed all day.
Yeah.
Started in Ireland and ended in Hawaii.
That's the beauty of college football. And that's something I hope they never take from us, is that we can always football all day, all night on Saturdays.
Have football basically be half of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
I'm in.
I mean, the football wasn't good.
Mm-mm.
It was very, very bad.
Very bad. Very bad.
Watch some FCS action.
Mm.
That was.
Oh, did you watch any of that Florida A&M Norfolk State?
Oh yeah.
Steak.
Steak too. They're cooked. Hey-o.
Dude.
Florida A&M. Beautiful helmets.
Yeah, they got
beautiful helmets.
Again, Rattlers.
Oh,
Very good logo. I mean,
Great
very
logo.
good mascot.
great mascot. The helmets are perfection.
Yeah.
It's like a gold dust in the metal flake in the helmet.
A question here for you. Rattlesnakes in Florida?
Yeah.
Up at the top?
Yeah.
Up at the top of the rat. So they got everything that'll kill you.
Yeah.
They got it all in Florida. Hey, big day for the state of Florida. Little League World Series.
Oh.
You see the walk-off bunt?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Walk-off bunt.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Taiwan throws it over first base into right field.
You
Runner
can't feel
scores
good
from
about
second.
that.
You got to feel great about
You
that.
can't feel good about that.
Little League ball. It was the most Little League play to end the Little League World
Didn't you shame your
Series.
son for bunting?
Yeah, but I mean that was coach pitch. We're talking the high stakes here. This is Little League World Series. You can lay one down. Lay one down in the Little League World Series. And then you had that big old boy there that you see. He's my favorite Little League player of all time. He hit a double. Did a little shimmy shake on second base, did the truffle shuffle,
Okay.
and then scored from second on the next, or I think, no, stole home.
Oh.
Stole home. Got the third, stole home.
Big fella.
Big fella
on the
could
pitch?
move. Big fella could move.
Wow.
Yeah, swiping home plate. That's why I love the Little League World Series. You got kids like Big Al. My name's Big Al, and I hit dingers.
What's he up to these days?
I don't think he's gained much weight since then. I think we looked him up, and wasn't he like 165 pounds now? I think he's playing high school. He's maybe a senior in high school.
Hi, my name's Alfred DeLeo. At home, they call me Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Alfred DeLeo, just a little legend, And then you got this kid who, I mean, he could hit for power. He's got speed. He's awesome.
He's like cut now.
I know. That's the great thing about the Little League World Series.
That's
that you see
so
these
funny.
kids.
He went like little butterball, and now he's like a jacked baseball player.
Yeah. And I think he's like, we looked him up in the spring, didn't we? It was his senior year this past year. He's already, Big Al's already a senior. And
good God,
he got jacked. He got ripped. We talk about this all the time with like guys that come into the NBA or, big recruits that come into college football or college basketball. They lose the baby fat.
Yeah.
You lose the baby fat. You get your man muscles, and all of a sudden you look like a different person by the time you leave. That was Big Al DeLeo. Hitting dingers.
I hit dingers.
My favorite part was his raspy voice, though.
Yeah.
When you get a kid who's got like that raspy voice, you're in
little
for it.
asthma in there.
Yeah, it already sounds like he's 9 years deep and is smoking 2 packs a day.
Yeah, you're in for your good
he's
time.
from Jersey.
He is.
So he probably was 9 years deep.
If I am correct, he was playing at some like prestigious Catholic high school over there.
Yes.
And he's really figured it out. I wonder if his voice is still raspy.
Probably.
Those little kids with the raspy voice.
Massillon, Ohio, they put the little football in your hands, and then in New Jersey, they just put a pack of Lucky Strikes in your hands.
Oh, Dad, come on. Right in the crib, huh?
Yeah.
Right there.
Get to him young.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
Ma!
So you footballed hard this weekend.
I footballed really hard.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech won me some money.
Hey, all right. Cover.
Cover, baby.
All dogs covered.
It was wonderful.
All dogs go to heaven right there. All four
that game
dogs.
went about as I thought it was going to go. Ugly as sin.
And we've got we'll dive into
we get
that
to point and laugh at Florida State
because I called this one on Friday. DJ.
Oof.
That was tough. That was tough.
Negative
at
air
times.
yards. Negative air yards is tough.
He got the cheap yards though. He got some of those cheap yards.
Yeah, he got the total yards bumped up, but the air yards not doing great, Bob.
And there's difference between being I am. We're sporting way too hard here, but
it's a yards merchant.
It is. There's being a check down guy, and there's an aversion to throwing the ball down the field, and there's a big difference between those two guys. Bo Nix was check down Charlie. But he would push the ball down the field. DJ did not do that.
No.
He was just cheap yards. Mike Norvell calling plays like he didn't trust his quarterback yet, which I get. It's week 1 in Ireland. The ball spins the opposite direction in Ireland.
It's true.
Yeah. It's like the toilet's flushing.
In Australia.
Do toilets actually flush the opposite direction in Australia?
I don't know. I never actually checked.
Do we know that?
I mean, that's the legend.
Yeah.
That's the legend.
The cartoons always showed me that.
Rest. These are the things we think that you should know. People from random 80s sitcoms and like toilet flushing. That is something we lean on you for. We need you right now. So what does the survey say? Doesn't look good look good for the urban legend.
Well, what it's saying here is that you can't tell because toilets tend to angle the jets that pass water into the bowl to drive the direction of the draining water.
I feel like my toilets flush clockwise.
So is it pushing against nature?
Yeah. Yeah. Toilets really do blow my mind, though. The whole
indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing, we were ahead of our time. Our time.
I mean, it's going full history. It's the French's best invention. It's their number one gift to mankind, indoor plumbing.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's why you have crap floating in the Seine River.
Could you imagine?
Because they're still running their indoor plumbing from like 600 years ago.
Yeah, you
can't rip up Paris and put new pipes in.
You feel like you would try to find a way to make that work, though.
You said it was their number one gift. According to some people, shouldn't that be a gift?
I see what you're doing here. You're trying to trigger the people right now between a GIF and a GIF.
I am.
All right, it's a GIF, even though the guy who invented it says GIF.
Even though the G in GIF stands for graphic, with a hard G.
Yeah, and I believe that man's. I don't know his name.
He's trolling.
His name is probably Jeff with a G.
Probably.
You
G
know?
Off.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a.
That's he's like, no. I'm going to normalize the soft G now. I'm going to normalize the soft G.
The only time the soft
G
G is allowed is when it's Kenny. because he plays it softly.
Kenny G does. God, Kenny Yee, if you will.
Let's see.
Just plays
Steve Wilhite is his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find in there?
Just some early Wikipedia stuff.
Getting milkshake ducked.
Look, there's a lot of internet things that I can
As soon as
go
you
off
start
on.
digging, you're like,
You
oh,
know,
God.
like the whole GIF versus GIF thing.
Yeah.
It's a GIF. We know it. Don't try to tell me
GIF
it's
is what you
not.
watch. GIF is what you put on your bread.
The guy who invented pop-up ads regrets it more than anything. And you know what? I applaud him for that. Hand up. Say, I was wrong. I was wrong for inventing pop-up ads. We didn't need that.
Well, and this guy is super
Done.
wrong because he says not only does he pronounce it as a GIF, but he says that's the only proper way to say it, and he's wrong.
As Vancouver Ford text line says, the guy should be in jail. Spelled with a G.
Oh. he should be in jail.
With a G.
G. Hard G. Hard G. Not we don't go soft G. He should be in Gale.
It's not a graphics interchange format. It's graphics interchange format. Hard
Right.
G. GIF.
I love how upset Russ gets on
I'm
this.
pissed off now.
This is you brought it up, man.
I know I did.
You're the one that did this to yourself.
But for the one guy who invented it, it's the word that literally stands for the G in there is a hard G.
Yeah. 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 All right. Well, I don't know how we got here, but
I think that's the kind of the title of the show.
Yeah, we kind of Every first segment we've got a squirrel moment or 7.
yeah. Thank you for toilets, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Do love
Thank you,
those.
Thomas Crapper.
Thank you for football in Ireland, and Pat McAfee wasted on his show.
Slammered.
Just absolutely housed. No apology yet either. I think it's just like, that one got away from me, and they're just owning it. Like ESPN's like, we should probably rethink putting Pat McAfee in a bar for his show.
I think it was a same day flight. Like he
really?
left New York, got higher than a kite
Yep.
on the plane.
See, why would you do that to yourself?
I mean, if you're Pat McAfee, fun. If you're ESPN, you're dumb.
I believe they even referenced that during the broadcast.
They did. He
did
did say...
during the football game. I mean,
no, they
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yes.
Yeah. Well.
Side note: he won't
Can't win 'em all.
apologize because Norby Williamson, the old chief there, who got a bunch of people axed, and Pat McAfee went out against publicly, has been dismissed.
Okay, so no apologies coming.
Yeah, the new boss is a Pat McAfee guy.
All right. Well,
So,
hey, precedent
he
has
won.
been set.
He won.
Bosses everywhere.
Take note.
Take note. Take note. Noted. Time stamp that. 12/15, August 26th, 2024.
Have Dusty and I sign that.
right.
Send that to Kim.
We will absolutely do that. All right, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Because we do have Dallas Cowboys news. Dem boys got that dude. CD gets paid next on the Fan. CeeDee Lamb got paid, baby.
Womp, womp, womp.
Dallas Cowboys giving their star wide receiver a 4-year deal worth $136 million. $38 million signing bonus, $100 million guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I refuse to see this feels like 2008.com housing market bubbles. The wide receivers are just getting too much money, and the differentiation between the very top and what you can get otherwise doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this plays out, because I look at it like I do quarterback money right now. You have the people that are capologists, cap nerds, salary cap guys that are going, the jumps that we will see in the salary cap over the next couple of years, if you can afford to do it right now, you pay those receivers right now because they will end up eventually looking like bargains down the road. So but the key is you have to have the cap now.
Yeah. Cowboys don't.
Not following that with Dallas.
Nope.
Right? And that's where you're seeing, like with the Brandon Ayuk situation, San Francisco's like, well, we don't have the cap now. Doubt we're going to have it later either.
Especially after re-signing Trent Williams.
Yeah, restructuring his deal, giving him his more guaranteed money. Yeah. This is going to be the issue with Dallas, because they've always kind of been in this pinch, right? Where they overpay their guys. Jerry Jones will love his people.
They wait, and then they overpay.
The last two wide receivers that they gave big old handsome chunks of money to, Amari Cooper in 2020 signed a 5-year, $100 million deal. Dez Bryant in 2015 signed a 5-year, $70 million deal. Neither one of those guys ended up seeing out their contracts with the Dallas Cowboys.
Look, again, this is not a shot at CeeDee Lamb. Like, everything that I'm saying here is not about CeeDee Lamb.
Nope, get your money, dude.
Yeah, no, I guys getting their money, you did what you're supposed to do.
Really damn good receiver.
Yeah, and he is. He's not my particular huckleberry when it comes to being a number one wide receiver.
You want big body.
I do. I don't like the little guys. I just.
Well, we know how you feel about butts, Danny.
I do. It matters. They matter.
Big butts matter to Danny. Can't find it. No. Oh, there it is.
Big butts matter. They do. I do. I like my receiver to be a little thick.
He'll bend you over his knee and give you a good spanking.
God, I forgot about that one.
Boy, was slinging that thing.
Wow, these are old, but they're bringing back some memories. It's tough.
Yeah.
I have a big backyard.
Backdoor action. Big butts matter.
Balls may come flying at your face.
Burn my butt.
God, it's a lot of butts. A lot of butt stuff.
Take me home, baby.
It stinks. Goodness.
Again, Danny, it's been well established on the size of your receivers that you like.
I like it that way. Along those lines, take it in the back end. That's what the Cowboys are going to do on this contract. I have no idea what the hell.
Absolute unit. I'm also a giant weenie.
Okay, that one doesn't make sense.
He just wanted to play.
I just wanted to play.
He just wanted to play. Were you just waiting to call me trash?
I've had some bad runs.
And that one makes sense. Yeah, that one makes sense. Okay.
But with all this said, I just don't understand what the Cowboys are doing. And this isn't a new thing. Obviously, this is this Jera, but you're not pulling the string that starts today. You're going back to Zeke and the financial decisions that have been made since then, or not made. Whether it was not getting Micah Parsons done a year early, dumb as could be, waiting on CeeDee Lamb, stringing out Dak. It's just there's so many different parts of this that are so bad. And it's going to turn into the Cowboys being smashed against the rocky cliffs by the water over and over and over again because of financial malfeasance.
I agree. And when you have a situation like Dallas has on their hands right now, it is wildly different than, say, the Minnesota Vikings, who made Justin Jefferson the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, right? Where you had Justin Jefferson, who is truly elite, is a bigger body, even though he is, Slenderman, but he is truly elite, a game breaker. And then also you have the situation where You're not staring down the barrel of a quarterback who wants to get paid a lot of money. You're not. You have a receiver that you drafted 2 years after him in Jordan Addison, who you don't have to worry about him breaking the bank, but you have a safety net in that. All right, how does Justin Jefferson help Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson get open and help grow JJ McCarthy, our young quarterback, on a rookie deal? That's not what Dallas is in right now.
No, they look at the skill positions. But where I will give the Cowboys credit is they have drafted incredibly well.
They do a very good job of drafting.
Dak is a
lately.
great draft pick. CD's a great draft pick. Micah Parsons, great draft pick. Look at their offensive line every year. They've got great draft picks up and down. But what they fail to do is backfill.
Yeah. And this is the problem, though, that they've run into, is that they've had to make the tough decisions on a lot of those offensive linemen where they had an offensive line that was 6 deep with starters at one point when they got Lyle Collins. And they had 6 high-level starting offensive linemen on one roster.
They missed that period because they had Dak on the rookie deal, and they had all the skill position players, and they had the offensive line, and they had the defense, and they just fell on their face.
And now you're really looking at Tyron Smith was old, and he was on his last legs. They had to make a business decision and say, go, leave. You got Zach Martin, who has a long injury history, but when he is healthy, is still a very good offensive lineman. Tyler Smith at offensive tackle, and then you're sitting there going, all right, now we hope. We hope. You got 2.
Yeah.
You got 2. You had 6 a few years ago, and then you paid Zeke a butt ton of money. And
he's still on the roster, though.
Uh-oh. Boomeranging back around. And that's kind of the thing. We mentioned both Des Bryant, Amari Cooper as wide receivers that got the bag, never saw the end of those deals. You also had Ezekiel Elliott, who you just sat there and you couldn't get rid of him. You couldn't unload him. And then he ended up boomeranging back around, albeit on a cheap deal now. But this could backfire on the Dallas Cowboys because of the fact that you do have Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, now CeeDee Lamb, and then where's the rest of your money going to go, and who's going to be the next casualty for Dallas? On top of that, you've got a situation where you do not have, and you have not afforded, as you said, because of backfilling your roster, you can't afford to have the injury bug come and bite you. And what happened over the weekend? Deron Bland out 6 to 8 weeks with a foot injury. Now, that puts you in a precarious situation, where you've had Trayvon Diggs, who led the NFL in interceptions, but also gave up explosive plays because he likes to gamble. He's been banged up. Deron Bland, your other corner, is now out for a month and a half, 2 months with a foot injury. You're already starting to take those hits because you have drafted really well and you've acquired a ton of talent, man. And that makes it incredibly hard to win at the highest levels in the NFL. The silver lining in this, if Deron Bland is going to get hurt, you want him to do it now as opposed to late in the year.
That way you can crash and burn to start the season. Honestly,
you can.
I joke, but
you can work your way back through.
The best thing to happen
right
for this
now.
Cowboys team, if you're being honest with yourself, if you're a Cowboys fan, is if they crater into the side of the moon right out of the gate.
Dude, that's hilarious. You think that?
Oh, Jerry,
you think think that Cowboys fans are going to be honest with themselves?
No.
They're fans,
but
man.
I mean, that would be the best possible situation for them.
Yeah.
Is just crater.
Yeah.
I mean, just be bad. And then end up at the top of the draft in a couple of rounds, be able to restock, have some things make some sense for you. Hey, maybe you can go get Shedeur Sanders and have another quarterback that,
Now you're just saying things. You're just saying things right now to make sure that the Raiders don't get Shedeur Sanders, because that you're very worried about that.
I'm terrified.
You have seen way too many far too early mock drafts.
That is my Dak Prescott.
Of the Raiders trading up to get Shedeur Sanders. But Dak Prescott was a 3rd round pick. And there's the far too early mock drafts of Raiders going to trade up to 2 to get Shedeur Sanders. I see what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You can't put one past me.
What?
All right. Well, CeeDee Lamb got paid, and the good news is they're going to play it slow with him. Good news is, Cowboys fans, you have your wide receiver 1. He is back in camp now. Well, they broke camp. He's going to be back in practice. They're going to use a ramp up for him. And I think this is something that people all need to have in the back of their minds is these receivers that have been holding out, whether it is CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, who was back at Bengals practice yesterday, Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco, soft tissue injuries are going to be the major concern.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot, having CeeDee Lamb week 1 is not a priority. And it shouldn't be like, oh my God, why is CD not playing? Everybody on that roster understands why he was holding out, but forcing him to play too early, and I'll say he'll be in the lineup week 1, but it will be limited.
Yeah.
You don't want these guys getting hurt because they are Ferraris. And history will tell you that these guys that hold out,
That's why you have two, because one always breaks down.
they get banged up. Ferraris?
Jaguars was the old joke.
Well,
Always have two, because when one's in the shop, you can drive the other one.
that kind of fits the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, right when things start going their way.
They took it to the limit.
Year we took it to the limit.
That's right, with Mark Brunell, lefty out of Washington. Mark Brunell, first year, took it to the limit.
Big old cannon.
Little Jimmy Smith, some Keenan McCardell.
That's what I'm
Fun
talking about. I
teams.
like Keon McCardell, man. He was fun. All right, so CD gets paid. Dallas fans are happy CD's back. You got your receiver, but just wait. You're going to have to make a tough decision down the road because he's getting paid $136 million, $100 million of which is guaranteed, which is a lot of guaranteed money, too.
Second most for a non-quarterback.
And I like that. I like that guys in the NFL are getting guaranteed money now because that was the biggest farce in NFL
just make it
contracts
up.
was like, he's going to get paid $150 million,
Like, no, he's not.
62 of which is guaranteed. It's like, oh, great. That
So
doesn't mean
So
anything.
he's going to get paid
for 2
$62
years.
million.
Exactly. He got paid $62 million. He got $100 million, though. Good for CeeDee Lamb. All right, the Oregon State Beavers make a big announcement right as our show started. Getting ready for Idaho State. They'll have a guy behind center who's very familiar with the Bengals. Next on The Fan.
Here you go, fatty.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Mariners took 2 of 3 versus the Giants over the weekend. Still find themselves 4.5 games behind the Astros in the AL West with just 31 games left to play. Seattle hosting Tampa for a 3-game set starting tonight. Bryce Miller starting for the M's. Ryan Pepio for the Rays. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Meanwhile, the Astros start a 3-game set at the Phillies, who lead the National League East. Ronel Blanco and Zach Wheeler is your pitching matchup in Philly. According to the depth chart released by the team, Giovanni McCoy has been named Oregon State starting quarterback, with Ben Gulbranson as the backup and Jabari Johnson as the number 3. NFL Network reporting the Cowboys and All-Pro receiver CeeDee Lamb have agreed to a 4-year, $136 million extension with $100 million guaranteed. Lamb is now the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Chiefs have agreed to a deal with wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. He was in uniform and practicing with the team today. The Seahawks have acquired outside linebacker Trevis Gibson from the Jaguars in exchange for a 6th-round pick, according to ESPN's Michael DeRocco. Gibson was a 5th-round pick of the Bears in 2020 and spent last season with the Titans. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Browns running back Nick Chubb expected to start the season on the physically unable to perform list, meaning he would be inactive for at least the team's first 4 games. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Oregon State released their first depth chart heading into week 1 of the regular season. The Idaho State Bengals head down to Reser Stadium to take on the Beavs this weekend. And maybe a surprise to some, but it was a battle. They kept saying it was a battle throughout camp. Giovanni McCoy, the University of Idaho transfer, beating out Bengal Branson and Jabari Johnson for the starting quarterback role down in Corvallis. McCoy, and I think that if you don't know and if you didn't watch any of Giovanni McCoy at Idaho or throughout the spring, he's a playmaker, man. And he was wildly efficient at the University of Idaho. Completed in 2 seasons 66% of his passes, 43 touchdowns, 15 picks. He can get into a little bit of the gunslinger. He has a little bit of that gunslinger in him, and it can bite him at times, but he is really stinking fun to watch. I loved watching, because ESPN would throw Idaho in like night games.
Like, they're on that schedule.
Dude, he was electric. The Kibbe Dome was rocking.
All I
last
hear
year.
is Jelani McCoy.
Jelani McCoy.
And
Why?
that I don't know why. Like, that's all I have popping in my head over and over and over again. I just picture Jelani McCoy playing quarterback, and it's not what you're saying.
No, it's Giovanni. Giovanni McCoy.
I don't know why, but that's like the first time I heard it, I was like, Jelani McCoy?
And this is a guy who's going to be obviously have a lot of familiarity with Idaho State, playing in the Big Sky for the last 2 seasons as an Idaho Vandal. Idaho State, obviously a rival of theirs. And this is one of the tough putts of being an FCS or a non-power FBS program, is once you get a quarterback, or really any player, because if you're looking at the University of Idaho, who's going down to play Oregon this weekend, they lost Giovanni McCoy, who was their quarterback last year. They lost their running back, Anthony Woods, who transferred to Utah and was a 1,000-yard back. That is just kind of the name of the game now with the transfer portal, is
you move your way up.
You shine, you move your way up, and all of a sudden a quarterfinal team from a year ago in the FCS playoffs in Idaho looks wildly different than they did. And you should be sitting there, and what these FCS coaches used to be is like, hey, now we're going to make a run. We were quarterfinals last year. We could be a championship contending team this year.
You end up being good, you're restocking. That's where the Montana States, North Dakota States, South Dakota, those teams, when the reason they're able to stay relevant is they're kind of Georgia, Alabama. They have depth.
And they, oddly enough, fill their rosters with a lot of local guys too. Like, there's a lot of guys from North Dakota and Montana that play for those schools.
They're from Fargo, from Bismarck. Yep.
And it's a lot harder to pull a guy out of Montana or Montana State if he's from the state of Montana than it is a guy from California or Texas who was overlooked in the recruiting process and says, whoa, I can go and I can play. And Giovanni McCoy can play. And I think if you're an Oregon State fan, the thing that makes you excited about this year as you head into it is we know what Bengal Branson has to offer, and he can be a manager. And again, now we're getting back into football mode. There is nothing wrong with being a game manager.
No.
Like, it's a dirty word, and I don't know how we got there, but being a game manager is great.
Yes, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The game manager now is more what I think teams prefer, to be honest. Now, don't be wrong, they want a superstar quarterback, but if they don't have that, you don't see the gunslinger anymore.
No.
You want the guy that's going to get the ball out on time and take care of it, not take risks, not put you behind the sticks, eat the ball when they need to eat it, just being smart about it. And if you're Oregon State, I think you need a little bit of juice.
Yeah.
As much as Go Branson's fine, I do think you need a little bit of juice.
Well, and with the weapons that you have at your disposal this year, it is a lot different due to the coaching change and graduation. You know, guys like Anthony Gould who go off and are getting rave reviews now. And you have Jam Griffin in Anthony Hankerson, who are going to be your 1-2 punch running backs in the backfield. Jam Griffin doing the old boomerang back around. Oregon State, Ole Miss, back to Oregon State. You can get yourself and afford yourself behind what it is a really big offensive line. And look, keeping Joshua Gray was huge throughout this entire process of the coaching change and guys hitting the portal and deciding to leave. Keeping Joshua Gray was huge for the Beavs.
Yes.
You also kept Grant Stark, too, at the right tackle. You bring in the two Colorado guys with Lichtenhan and Wells, Van Wells, the center. You are going to have the ability to run the football.
And you've got a really good running back.
And then you have Giovanni McCoy, who's going to be that guy, like you said, can keep some plays alive for you.
Give him a little bit of juice.
It gives you a little bit of juice there. I'm excited to see what Oregon State puts on the field. I know that there was so many people down on them because of the defections that they had in the portal. But if you look at their schedule outside of the Oregon game, all of it is very manageable this season, and that can be a stabilizer for the football program.
They win 9
as you're in
games
this
and
flux.
it looks a lot better.
Heck yeah, it does. And Giovanni McCoy is going to be the guy who's going to get the snaps with the first team coming out this Saturday, taking on the Bengals of Idaho State.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. 3:30 kick on the C-Dubs for that game. Idaho State and Idaho, both the weirdest setups for college football. You have the Kibbe Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Where Idaho plays.
Aren't the
goalposts in both of these stadiums come down from the rafters because there's their basketball stadiums too. But Idaho State, the Holt Center, that is a place where the benches for the football
aren't they down below?
They're dugouts.
Yeah.
They're dugouts. So if like you have somebody over 6 feet tall, they have to like duck under to go and sit on the bench. It's just them's the breaks playing in the state of Idaho, I guess. But at least they got a dome. At least they got a dome in both those places. But the state of Idaho invades the state of Oregon this weekend as Idaho State plays Oregon State. Idaho travels to Autzen Stadium for Oregon, which is a 4:30 kick right here on the Fan. Giovanni McCoy going to be behind center for game 1 for the Beavs this weekend, and hopefully it's a game where you don't have to see, or you get to see Ben Goldbranson, you get to see, Jabari Johnson as well, and it's not going to be you keep your starters in for too long.
Back it up and get done with things.
Stay healthy.
You mentioned random stadiums.
Yeah.
When I was in North Dakota, Grand Forks, University of North Dakota, Alaris Field, or was it Alaris Center now? It's got a weird setup too, where the goalposts are dropped in the same way, but they have regular bench seats length of the field, and then because it's a dome, dome's a loose word, it's a box, but there's box seats behind the field goals on both sides.
Oh,
it's
so they got little suites going on.
It's
there.
It's an interesting little setup,
huh?
Like on each end.
Yeah.
But the field goal posts are like smashed up against. There's a couple feet between the posts and the box suites. It's weird.
I applaud Montana and Montana State for saying, you know what, we're going to keep it outdoors.
You can't in Grand Forks though. Like you legitimately can't.
Washington Grizzlies Stadium is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite stadiums in all of college football. If you've never been to University of Montana, that's it should be a bucket list place for you to go and watch a game.
It's like BYU baseball.
It is an awesome stadium, and it's nice.
Is that the one in Bozeman?
No, that's in Missoula.
Okay,
Missoula.
Montana State's in Bozeman.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, North Dakota State, South Dakota, they all play indoor. South Dakota State plays outdoors.
Yeah, Grand Forks you can't, because I've been there before.
Or Fargo.
In September, it was negative.
Yeah, they call Lambeau the frozen tundra, and Fargo's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, no, and Grand Forks is an hour north of Fargo.
Hold my beer because I can't with my hands. They're frozen.
It's frozen.
It's gonna freeze. That was the greatest playoff game. The ending wasn't great for Minnesota. Like Blair Walsh missing kick, but that Seahawks Vikings game where fans were literally opening beers and they were freezing them before they could drink them. That's football, man.
That's cold.
That's football.
That's cold.
And that's the great thing about football. This is another great thing about football. I'm just going to be saying great things about football for all week long.
I like it.
Great thing about football is that it starts in August and you have like these sweltering games, and then it ends with people getting frostbite watching their favorite team. Like, there's no other sport that starts with heat stroke and ends with frostbite.
Wasn't there somebody in Kansas City at that game in Miami like lost their fingers?
Yeah, multiple people lost digits because one guy in particular, he was taking down his pop-up tent and he had to take his gloves off in order to take the pop-up tent down. Frostbite, fingers gone.
America.
Football, so great. It's so great.
Would you do it again? Of course.
Yeah, I would. We need to find that Jim Harbaugh quote, by the way, from this weekend. Harbaugh had another all-timer. I mean, even for a Jim Harbaugh quote, this one was. I think he may leave his wife for Justin Herbert.
I would say, is this Harbaugh in the elevator?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It might be one of the best Harbaugh quotes that we have ever heard.
It's up there. It's off the rails.
It's a thing of beauty, and he is an absolute.
It sounds like
lunatic.
it's AI generated.
It might be. It might be. It very easily could be that.
There's no offense. There's no defense. It's a we fence.
Yeah, they got a we fence going on there. All right, 503-864-6326. That'd be the Vancouver Ford text line. We'll get to some of your feedback on the Vancouver Ford text line next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Metal Monday.
It is Metal Monday. This is not. This isn't metal.
Pay attention.
Oh my gosh. We have Enter Sandman Yacht Rock Edition. Why does this work?
Dude,
Why does this work?
because it's beautiful music.
that slams.
Wow. That is beautiful.
It's amazing. It's so good.
Who did that?
Oh, what's
Is that
this guy's
like-
name? I think his name is, he calls himself the Professor Nick Harrison.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
the professor from Salem out there crossing guys up on the basketball court.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
That is fantastic.
Sounds a little bit like George Benson.
Yeah.
Little the old, and you can give me the night.
It has like a little Michael McDonald flair to
It's
it too.
it's the staccato.
Yeah, you couldn't wait till Yacht Rock Friday to unveil that. You had to go on a Metal Monday.
Yes.
Which, by the way, it is Metal Monday today. And in the 2:00 hour, we are going to be giving away tickets to Five Finger Death Punch in the 2:00 hour today.
Sweet.
So make sure that you are hanging in there.
I do love me some Death Punch.
I bet you do.
I think we have some in the playlist, don't we?
Oh, we do have some
Yeah.
Five Finger Death Punch in the playlist.
See, I gave like 80 something songs. I think I put some Five Finger in there.
Sure. Yep. There we go. There we go. All right. We were talking about Giovanni McCoy being the quarterback for Oregon State. This text on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. As an OSU fan, I could not be less excited about McCoy. This looks like an FCS team. He's 6 foot, 180 pounds. Dude might seriously get hurt when they play Oregon. I understand that.
I mean, you had the big quarterback last year, and it didn't do you any good.
I also understand that. I see both sides of
Just
this.
saying. Like,
And
DJ was more of a game manager than even I thought he would end up being.
I mean, but when you have a guy who is a playmaker and you need to keep defenses on their heels any way that you can, look, this is a shift stylistically too with Gunderson calling plays now. And your offense is not Jonathan Smith's offense.
I want to see him get
anymore.
weird. Like, go Boise State. Kind of tailor it and build it around whatever you got each year.
And this year, I think McCoy fits what the talent around him. Think of the running backs that you have in Griffin and Hankerson. Both of those guys are small, thick boys. They are 5'8", 5'9", over 2 bills. You know, but both explosive out of the backfield, can be used in the passing game effectively and efficiently. You have some bigger body receivers on the outside, and I think that is something that is going to be fun to see with the Michigan transfer, Darius Clemens, the Westview High product. He is transferred over. He's going to be on the outside. He's 6'3", 210. That's a big guy. So you go 6'2", 187 with Noga at another receiver, and then 6'2", about 195 with
Quite the
Trent
shift
Walker.
from 5'8", 5'8", 5'9".
In speed,
Yeah.
Stretching you vertically, you are going to have bigger targets, and you are going to move the pocket. I'm assuming you're going to be moving the pocket more this year because Lichtenhan is 6'9", 320, whatever.
330, yeah.
We saw him at Colorado last year, where pass pro and holding up in pass pro was a problem.
Straight set is not going to be a
No.
good thing for him.
But Joshua Gray, very good in that regard. Grant Stark is a plus pass blocking right tackle that you have. You're going to want to move the pocket, though, and you're going to want to get outside a little bit more. You want to have that ability to have a little bit of athleticism. I understand he's going to get killed against Oregon, right? They're going to come at you in waves because they have kind of built depth and kind of stacked depth. But playmakers, man, they come in all shapes and
Yeah.
sizes. And
And
Giovanni McCoy is a play. He keeps plays alive. He's not like a running quarterback by any stretch, but he is a guy that keeps plays alive and keeps his eyes downfield.
The other
And
part
that's
of
what you
this
need.
is it
Andy's
sucks.
efficient.
It sucks to say this. You're not in the same conference anymore, guys.
Yep.
You're not playing guys that are going to be in the NFL every week anymore. You're playing in the Mountain West.
Essentially, yes.
That's what
you're doing.
So you're not. So even if he's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, the scaling matters. Like if he's projects to be an above average college quarterback at this level, you're fine.
Yeah.
Does that mean that he's going to be the guy that takes you to an 11-1 season, and now you're getting that dark horse bid as the Group of 5 nomination to the college football playoff? Probably not. But that's not the only way you live now.
I don't think they can get that nomination.
Yeah, because they're not technically.
No.
Yeah.
No. They've got to just get straight
Just
up
get
at
in.
large.
Ugh.
12-0. That'll do it. That'll do it. That'll get you in the 12-team playoff. All right. 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. Keep them rolling. Keep them coming in. Let's start hour number 2 with a little bit of college football. We had a college football palooza to kick off the season. 0 week. Not good football. Very exciting. And get them dogs out. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Are you
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Monday afternoon. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. We got the start of the college football season over the weekend, 0 week. And it started in true college football fashion. The first upset of the year.
As it does.
Top 10 team goes down. Florida State came into the season ranked 10th, licking their wounds after being snubbed from the college football playoff. And they laid an egg. 24-21, they lose to the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. It was a fun game, though.
It was.
It wasn't pretty.
I mean, that first drive.
First 2 drives were great.
I mean,
Score.
You start the game off, Florida State just punches Georgia Tech in the mouth. Boom, 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 boom. Nothing but quick hit runs.
Yep.
Gash, deep. Like, it was just, okay, this is how this is going to go, huh? They're just going to blow them off the line of scrimmage and just maul them. Georgia Tech comes back and goes, all right, bet. Does the exact same thing against the Florida State defense that, even though it lost a couple guys, particularly in Jared Verse, they were long believed to have been the winners of the transfer portal market in bolstering the defensive line. They basically got the top defensive line prospects in the country in the transfer portal, and they just got bullied over and over and over. And then you got Hayes King back there looking like a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Yep.
I mean, going back to the whole point about Oregon State having a quarterback, I mean, I'm joking, but
we're using that very loosely here.
It is. But you look at Haynes King, and he's not a guy you look at and go, my God, he's like the spitting image of, like, perfect specimen of quarterback play. Like, yeah, he's 6'3", but when you look at him, does he look like a big guy back there? No. There's nothing about him that's just overwhelmingly threatening as a quarterback.
Yeah, he's well put together, though.
He is.
I mean, he's not 180 pounds.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, you're not looking at him going, that's a prototypical quarterback build. No, he's just slightly above average. But his ability to beat you with his feet, the read option, thankfully, the ethos of the Ramblin' Wreck lives on in Haynes King.
Yeah.
Because they did run some option.
Run that damn ball.
And, oh, my God. Do we have that drop?
No.
Oh, God. That was, you heard the coach after the game, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, we
Run the ball.
There it is.
Run the ball.
As a former offensive lineman, how much pride did you have watching that group control the line of scrimmage?
Are you kidding me? Run the ball.
And if you're not sure the face that he made when he said that, it's exactly what you're picturing.
I don't know if I'm picking up what Brent Keith's putting down.
Oh?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
really.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
I came away thinking, this guy's got his guys.
Yeah. Don't know if I was buying it.
It feels fake.
Like a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
because
can see
he made the face like,
yeah.
Like when we have the Dabo or you have Kirby, when they say it, it's like,
see,
you believe it. With him, I was like, seems a little forced.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
My only pushback was like during those interview that interview the whole time, every single one of his guys that came by,
they loved him.
They loved him, and they like you could damn near tear coming back kind of a deal. And that's where I was like, that's why I was like, I think this guy's real.
Yeah. I hope I want Georgia Tech to be good.
It's fun when they're good.
It is fun when they're good. They just aren't.
Yeah.
Really ever. But
Florida State.
Now the ACC, we want to talk about a wide open conference.
Goodness.
And one of them will get a bye.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. Miami's like, yes. Clemson's going, yes.
I mean, because SMU, good God, was not doing the ACC any favors.
But with Florida State, with DJ Uiagalelei, we talked about him on Friday, and I said he's not a guy who will win you a game. He's a guy who can lose you a game.
Sure.
But he is not going to put a team on his back and carry you to a win. And now look at it was his first game in a new system, and it was a conference game that you're going into. You're not playing, Idaho or Idaho State like the two Oregon schools are playing. You had an ACC game to kick off your career at Florida State. But now we have DJ is on his third school, and think of the guys that he has been around as coaches, though. Dabo Swinney and Tony Elliott when he was at Clemson. Jonathan Smith at Oregon State, and now Mike Norvell at Florida State.
Are any of those guys good at creating offense?
Every single one of those guys is known for offenses that maximize your quarterback. And we just haven't seen it. And one thing that we're not even seeing from DJ anymore, which was his kryptonite at Clemson, everybody said, can't do that, was he is 6'6", like 250, and he doesn't run the ball anymore.
He didn't take it and run. I was shocked by that. This game was so interesting because that point in particular, if you had asked me before the game, who has the ability to really hurt the other team with their legs? The 6'5", 250-pound quarterback was higher on my list than Haynes King, even though I know that King is a bit of a dual threat guy. Okay, but the interesting thing was almost like this game lacked I'm trying to think of the right word, the motivation for it, in the sense of it was such a tight game, score-wise. There was no turnovers in the game. Low penalties. Time of possession was almost dead even across the board. Like, this game was so equal. There was almost like the game called for a big play, and it seemed like neither DJ or Florida State were either unwilling or unable to make it.
Yes, and that's where you talk about Haynes King. That's where he did make those plays
over and over
legs. Again. I mean, they didn't have the big explosives, right? I don't think we had a play over 40 yards in that game.
No, 30. No. The Rutherford one was 42.
It was 42. Yeah. Okay, so the pass to Rutherford, 42 yards. We had one play over 40 yards in the entire game. Yeah. It wasn't filled with explosives, and I think that where you sit there and you go, that's going to be the Achilles heel for Florida State is. That comes down in college football so much to, does the quarterback deliver that strike? Mm-hmm. Does the quarterback create that play with his legs? Does he create it with his arms? And we just haven't seen that with DJ.
No.
And that is unfortunate. And look, the kid came out of high school, out of St. John Bosco, with a ton of hype around him. And that's not his fault. That's not his fault. It is the expectations that were lumped upon him as a highly touted prospect who went to a powerhouse in Clemson and then just didn't pan out. Sometimes that happens. And that's like DJ their season's not over.
No.
They could still win the ACC and go to the college football playoff and be scary down the stretch. And I mean, I don't think that is dumb though, because if Mike Norvell, they turn on that film and they're like, DJ, we need to whatever that broke you at Clemson and Oregon State from running the football and being a guy who turns into a threat. That's who we want you to be.
Yeah, because you can't rely on his arm.
That guy. Because you saw Mike Norvell protecting him from throwing the ball down the field. It was an aversion to throwing the ball down the field, which hurt them late in the game. Mm-hmm. But then it also was Mike Norvell not trusting him. All of those. In the stat that DJ's getting dragged for right now is he started the game 12 of 14, and I think it was 96 yards, but his average yards through the air downfield was -0.1.
Yeah, because the passes, the little jet touch passes were
that's -4.
-4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, even if it was a forward pass.
Screens are behind the line of scrimmage, and that's your coach saying, all right, one, it's working right now, and it was working for them early. But two, we're not going to do that. We're not pushing the ball down the field. We are going to ease our quarterback into this. And look, they could get to that point where it's not that he doesn't have a strong arm. You got to get that trust, though.
Yeah.
And Florida State, they may not be done, but that was a brutal start. You mentioned SMU. That SMU-Nevada game, that was game 3 of the quadruple header. But penalty fest. 22 penalties, 206 yards combined.
So many near fights.
Yeah, guy spitting, not on a player, but in the general direction. I spit at you.
I mean, he was trying to spit at him.
Yeah, he didn't hit him.
No.
We had spitting. We had cheap shots after the whistle. Mm-hmm. That looked like one of those old Oregon State, Fresno State games from the early 2000s that were just haymakers being thrown. Where did this bad blood come from? I don't know, but it was there.
It was there, and
that game was ugly, baby.
It was the best kind of ugly.
Yeah. Nevada had no business leading that game. I texted you that. I was
Yeah.
like, they have no business leading this game right now. Yet SMU was just like, nah, you guys could take the lead. You guys are fine. And it gave us a hell of a finish down the stretch. 29-24, down to the wire.
Yeah, no, SMU swapped quarterbacks at the half, and it was all the difference.
I mean, 3 of the 4 games did come down to the wire because the other one was Montana State spotting New
Oh my
Mexico
God.
2 touchdowns.
They needed every break to get back into that game.
Two defensive touchdowns from New Mexico. And Montana State was like, we're okay. We are the better team. They were the better team.
Didn't cover, though.
They were 13.5-point favorites in that game. And New Mexico scored 2 defensive touchdowns and blew a
Still lost.
17-point fourth quarter lead. They were up 17 in the fourth quarter, and Big Sky, Montana State just goes, yeah, no, we'll take this game from you. That
Been here,
was,
done that.
and it was windy. That was great. We had like 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts coming in Albuquerque.
Make it a little special because you're playing it near Mile High.
The one game that wasn't really close was Delaware, Hawaii.
Yeah, which
We knew that was, we knew what that was going to be. But it was,
shockingly, Hawaii did not cover the 40.5.
they're not a good football team.
No.
They really
That's
are.
why we said take Hawaii and take the under.
Yeah. Take Hawaii, or take Delaware State, take the under.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, Delaware State and the under. They did not hit the 56.5. In Delaware State, they got to Hawaii by Thursday. So that was a win in their own right. All 4 underdogs covered, though. 40.5 in that Hawaii-Delaware State game. You had New Mexico covering 13.5 against an FCS team.
That was an upset.
Good luck, Bronco Mendenhall. SMU, I think they were 10.5-point favorites over Nevada. They win by 5, and then Georgia Tech wins outright over Florida State, which is 10-point.
It was 10 and
10-point dogs. They won.
I think it opened at 13. I think
Yeah.
they got down to 10.
All dogs go to heaven, baby.
Hey!
Riding those wins all the way up. Let's go.
Love to see it.
I do love to see it. It was a college football palooza, and it just was a great warning for all of us that whatever you think heading into this week, there will be a massive wrench thrown into it somewhere. Whatever you think is going to happen this week, and it's not going to be against the FCS. I saw somewhere that there are 59 FCS versus FBS games this week. Probably not going to see very many upsets like Montana State beating New Mexico or like Lindenwood beating 25th ranked Kansas. But we'll see a game that gets turned on its head. Look, Colorado's 9.5-point favorites over North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's
at home.
That's a fun one.
That one could get a little gnarly on you. But I mean, we're not expecting any of these.
It's
things
a taking care of business week.
It kind of is, and well, I mean, unless Clemson beats Georgia, which that would be
a massive derail,
Wow.
and all of a sudden the ACC looks different.
Well, I could see West Virginia beating Penn State. It's in Morgantown.
Yeah,
Penn State.
That whole town is
8.5
going to be
favorites.
so drunk.
All the couches would be burned. All of them. They would all get burnt that
Yeah, they're
day.
setting up game day out there.
They would. That again. ESPN. What are you doing to McAfee?
He's sending McAfee to his hometown, to his home school.
You can't do that. I can see Florida beating Miami, but that wouldn't really be that big of an upset.
I mean,
Miami's ranked.
I was saying Miami's ranked, and
Florida's not at all. But this weekend gave us the, hey, you think you know? You have no idea. Was that MTV? What is that MTV thing?
I think that was, yeah.
Yeah. What show was that on? Where like people would shadow somebody else's life. Was it,
God.
I don't know. But they'd be like, I want to be a break dancer. And they're like, you think you know? You have no idea. And then that's how Ray Gunn got to the Olympics, is that MTV show. All right. Jim Harbaugh goes the most Harbaugh'ian way absolutely possible. And we got some decision times across the NFL after preseason wrapped up. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. That was a show on MTV that we were talking about. Made.
Yes. As an aside, this might be one of my favorite songs of all time.
My Curse. On brand.
Yep.
On brand.
Little kill switch engage.
Yep. It's right on brand right there. All right, Jim Harbaugh gave us quite possibly the most Jim Harbaughian quote of all time.
Oh, do we find this absolute
We don't have the
monstrosity?
audio.
I have scoured. I can't find the sound.
Which, come on, Chargers media.
They probably went, this is too much.
You had 5 players and apparently 2 women of the Los Angeles Chargers staff got stuck in an elevator, which sounds like a horrible thing. Like getting stuck in an elevator, there's nothing that is fun about getting stuck in an elevator. And they were in there for a while. They got hot. Everybody got out. But this is the way Jim Harbaugh looked at that event. He said, that's a shared experience that brought them closer together. I just missed it, being on that elevator. It was like, wish I could have been on there with those guys. But Justin Herbert was. Okay, there's his first quote. I wish I could have been on that elevator. The man seeks out adversity to the point where he wishes he was on an elevator stuck where you don't know when you're getting off. You don't know if you're going to have to establish a P corner. There are so many variables right there. It could come just crashing down. He's like, nope, wish I could have been there. That's a piece of this team bonding I would have wanted to be a part of. Harbaugh goes on to say, Justin Herbert, his hair was a little wet, but his shirt was completely dry. That was another thing that blew me away. The guy's just a beast. So, out of getting out of a stuck elevator, Harbaugh essentially told us there was a winner and a loser in all of this. And the winner was Justin Herbert, who did not sweat.
Unbelievable.
He's like, no, we got that.
What we need to go to Evan Turner on this to understand the dynamics of the elevator.
How hot it gets.
And being stuck in there.
Yeah. Harbaugh went on, you get in those situations, and it's a test of wills. I was proud of each of the guys and the 2 women that were on that elevator. That's a win. You feel good about yourself. You were challenged. It was a test of will, and you pull it down or pull it in. It was camaraderie amongst a group that is even stronger than it was before.
Oh, boy.
He ended it with, who's got it better than those guys who were on that elevator?
Yeah.
No, O'Doyle rules.
This is it's, again, Dusty is not doing it justice. How unhinged the audio was. It sounds like AI. I'm not kidding. Like when
I haven't heard any of the audio.
Oh, you haven't heard it?
No,
oh,
I didn't. I didn't know it existed.
Oh yeah, it's full.
I just only read the quotes.
It's full on bloviating, like Harbaugh's best. I heard it this morning on the way in. It was incredible. And you're just sitting there going, "There's no way. There's just no way that happens."
There is a way. His name is Jim Harbaugh. That man is an enigma. He is a crazy human being. And I love every bit of what Jim Harbaugh brings to the table. And that's the thing that's going to be the weirdest thing is that this team from a talent standpoint, it should not compete for the AFC West. It should not be a team that in the AFC is going to be a viable threat in the playoffs.
Or even a playoff team.
A playoff team is going to be a bit of a stretch. But that guy wins every single place he's gone. Like Kirk Cignetti, the Indiana coach, said it when he dropped the Google me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I win everywhere I've been. Just Google me. Harbaugh really is that, though.
Well, the thing about Harbaugh,
so is Cignetti.
I'm with you on Harbaugh. And this, I
do have the audio.
I go back and forth. Do we have it?
Yeah. I can. I'm going to send it to Russ.
Okay, because when you hear it, it's just pure unadulterated. Like it's as bad as a lot of milk.
Oh no, not that. That wasn't bad. That was great.
No, but I mean, like it's.
I don't see anything bad about what Jim Harbaugh's doing.
It's not what he says; it's how he says it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of.
He believes it
behind it.
Gross.
Yeah, no, it makes you gross and uncomfortable.
It is.
Yeah,
it's very gross.
That's I know. That's why I went for that because that's what it makes you do.
Really, Rust? Really?
You're welcome.
I do love how you boosted that one, too.
So disgusting. So gross.
Little fava beans and Chianti.
He's a different bird, man. He is just a absolute wild card of the highest regard, though, too. And I can't wait that we have more of him in the NFL. I can't wait for what he says when the S hits the fan, too, because that may be the better Harbaugh, is when he gets a little surly with people and things aren't going the right way. But this Chargers team is going to be an interesting one. And there's a lot of tough decisions that are going to be made right now. This is a cut day in the NFL. You know, over 1,000 players across the NFL are going to have their dreams absolutely shattered in the next 48 hours.
It's tough.
That is tough. That's when you put it into those terms, you're like, dang, that's awful. And Trey Lance may be one of those guys for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean,
that number 3 pick is looking worse and worse by the minute, but at least they got Brock Purdy, the San Francisco 49ers. Right. He threw 5 picks
against the third string.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're Jerry and you're the Cowboys, are you going, yeah, we can keep him on as Dak's backup?
Well, I mean, I think it's if you're going full Jerry conspiracy theory, you keep him. That way nobody ever asks for him.
Oh, well, I'll be damned. Yeah. They're going to ask for Cooper Rush, though.
I can't. I mean,
Get the pride of Central Michigan back out there and Cooper Rush. But you have some guys that serious question marks are coming in. Because I joke about Drake May looking good. He played well enough in their preseason finale last night to where Gerard Mayo is now having the serious question of, are you going to play this guy that you thought and you said you were going to sit for the year, and Jacoby Brissett has been the guy moving forward?
And Brissett's dinged up a little bit.
It still seems that Jacoby Brissett is going to be the guy moving forward, at least week 1. But they're not in a position where they're going to try to win. The offensive line still is not very good.
Which is probably why you want to play a couple of weeks and let Brissett take those hits and see just how bad your offensive line is.
Protect him at all costs, and there's not going to be much pressure, at least from the onset, from Boston delusional sport fan.
No.
Because you approach this by saying he's going to be a backup. We brought Brissett in to be that guy. Things will go sideways. I give it 4 weeks. Then they're going to put
week
Drake
5.
May in. Yeah, they're going to put Drake May in probably week 5.
I think
unless
if you're hoping
Brissett gets hurt.
I think if you're hoping best case scenario, it's like week 8.
Dude, best case scenario is you sit his butt for the whole year and you just say, learn how to be a pro. Yeah. But, all of these rookie quarterbacks, in listening to Collinsworth kind of wax poetic on all of them, it was like, we may be going a little bit too far here.
Yeah.
But I can't remember a year where we've had 5 rookies that have flashed and all of them have been like, no, they all look really good in the preseason. They've all had their hiccups and their warts, but I go back to preseason is more meaningless than it's ever been before.
Sure. But still.
But
you have to.
It was almost
you can't ignore it.
They used to be amplified, right? The hiccups and the bumps in the road were amplified back when preseason actually meant something. It doesn't mean anything now, and the fact that all of these quarterbacks did flash, and JJ McCarthy we may go back and be like, him tearing his meniscus wasn't the worst thing that happened for him or the Vikings because of the expectations being kind of leaped upon all of these guys.
Yes.
And there's nothing that you can do to get out of that way. And there's going to be the ditch digger in this group. We know there will be, because if 2 of them thrive, if the other 3 are going to be, well, what happened to them? And that's unfair to them because we only get 1 or 2 quarterbacks every year that look good.
Come on. Rookies are supposed to suck.
That's right.
Coming up next on our worst day on the web, we're going to go to what might just be like the pool of worst days on the web. It involves a postal worker and drugs.
Oh.
But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the Mariners took 2 of 3 versus the Giants over the weekend, but still find themselves 4.5 games back of the Astros in the AL West with just 31 games left. Seattle hosting Tampa for a 3-game set starting tonight. Bryce Miller on the hill for the M's. Ryan Pepio for the Rays. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Meanwhile, the Astros start a 3-game set at the Phillies, who lead the National League East. Brunel Blanco and Zach Wheeler is your pitching matchup in Philadelphia. According to the depth chart released by the team, Giovanni McCoy has been named Oregon State starting cornerback, with Bengal Branson as the backup and Jabari Johnson as the number 3. NFL Network reporting the Cowboys and All-Pro receiver CeeDee Lamb have agreed to a 4-year, $136 million extension with $100 million guaranteed. Lamb is now the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The Seahawks have acquired outside linebacker Trevis Gibson from the Jaguars in exchange for a 6th-round pick, according to ESPN's Michael DeRocco. The Chiefs have agreed to a deal with receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. He was in uniform and practicing with the team today. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Browns running back Nick Chubb expected to start the season on the physically unable to perform list, meaning he'd be inactive for at least the team's first 4 games. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
It always seems like it's a fair place to go to the well. Visit the U.S. Postal Service.
Wow.
I mean,
I love my postal carriers.
I'm just saying.
Y'all are great.
They do have a reputation for going postal.
There is a term. Yep.
This one's going postal in a little bit of a different way. Mm-hmm. A former postal worker is being accused of intercepting drugs and delivering them to traffickers in New Jersey. over 5-year period received cash payments in exchange for helping traffickers intercept packages containing narcotics and other illicit materials.
Okay, wait a minute. So they were stealing drugs to give to drug dealers?
So basically,
I
think they were shipping, mailing drugs, and he would grab them before they would get to whatever spot, and then, or they got word of somebody having drugs, and he would steal them from a different drug dealer and pawn them
anyway
off
you
to somebody
slice
else.
it, the postal workers were working with
dealers.
the drug dealers.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. That actually isn't that surprising. Is that bad that I just assume that kind of stuff happens kind of regularly?
It's kind of like when we joked about the McDonald's Monopoly game being fixed, and it turned out we were all right.
Yeah. That was a wild racket that they were running.
One dude controlled it all.
One guy. And it was it's only one person. He won't do it. Yep, he did it.
Well, because it was one person, it
They're
was
wrong.
easier to do.
Yeah.
And it took years for them to catch on. Unbelievable.
And this was in New Jersey they caught this?
Yeah. And it went on from 2015 to 2020.
Oh, wow. That's a long run.
Mm-hmm. One of the instances back in 2019, a package containing cocaine was shipped from Puerto Rico to an address in Flanders. He's accused of delivering it to an accused trafficker in the post office parking lot and receiving cash in return.
Now, who popped them? Was this because they have the post office has their own branch of law enforcement.
It's the inspector general of the post office that got them.
Oh, got that? Yeah, it wasn't the Stadies. It was.
No, because it's a federal.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
it's like the Secret Service. There's the same kind of thing.
There's a great episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they had to work with the Postal Inspectors Service team. And just basically of all of the alphabet agencies that there are, they were the nerdiest of the nerdies.
Yeah.
And I think that may have been a little unfair. But at the same time, it was the first time I'd ever heard of them, was quite literally on the TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'd never heard of them before.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's like the Secret Service. You think of it as this, elite group, but really they're in charge of money.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
They don't work for. I guess they technically work for the president, but they aren't a branch for the president. They were there to oversee the Federal Reserve. They protect money. It's who are we gonna have be taking care of the president? I don't know. Somebody who wants his money.
Well, I think that works though, because we're gonna lose the most money if our president gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Not good, Bob. Not good at all. Ooh, speaking of president, and you see RFK, he dropped out, right? These stories are getting wild that are popping up about him. The cutting off the whale's head and putting it on the roof of his minivan.
Dude,
and it was leaking through the roof, and the kids had to wear plastic over their heads.
What was the other one? He hit a bear. And
hit it in Central Park. Yeah,
but that was after he put it in the back of the van and went to a dinner party, and the only reason why he left it in Central Park is it was starting to stink too bad.
Dude, he's just addicted to roadkill, man, or beach kill. But he's just yep. And look, there's a lot of people that do that.
This seems like a great transition as you brought up roadkill.
Yeah.
There's another story over the weekend where there was a bald eagle that believed it was too injured to fly. It was at a Wilson's Creek National Battlefield.
Oh.
It popped up. It was one of the reenactments or something along those lines. And oh no, a bald eagle, it's injured and it can't fly. It was too fat to fly because it had just eaten roadkill.
Heck yeah.
They took it to the doctor and did scans, and they found that
he was just living too good of a life.
Yeah, he was very, very, very full.
I don't know what it is about bald eagles, but every time I see them, they are majestic creatures.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin almost made the turkey our national bird, and that would have been such a letdown.
Yeah.
Because bald eagles are rad.
When a couple weeks ago when I went on the water with my family, we were just sitting there, just tooling in the river, and all just out of the sky comes a bald eagle, and it just
Sweet.
6 feet away, just kind of slowly glides, comes around the bow of the boat, circles around us, probably about 10, 20 feet behind us, lines up, dives, grabs a fish out of the water, pops back away, and goes up to its nest about 50 yards away offshore.
There's something about bald eagles.
God.
They like to put on a show.
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
feel like they know how
like-
protected they
yeah.
are. Like somebody sat down with them and is like, all right, guys,
They can't touch you.
nobody can do anything to you.
You are so made.
Yeah, you've got this. You can do whatever you want. And they put on a show. They're showmen. Those bald eagles are.
I think a couple birds in the bird world know that, because I think I've mentioned the owl before that I almost killed, right?
No?
So, my old place, I used to sleep with the window open all the time, and I have this there you go, it's actually perfect, 110-foot tall pine tree in the front yard, massive old growth pine tree. Middle of summer, beautiful night. Woohoo! 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 I mean, it just won't stop. It's 35, 40 minutes straight of just hooting and hollering.
This is Lane with the dog on Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
Where you set up Kramer. Kramer was the hitman. Kramer and his buddy.
It's like 2 a.m, and there's a 0% chance I'm going to go to sleep. And so I go out there, and I'm just about ready to just start laying into the tree, because he's not that far up in the tree. And I just flash my flashlight up there, and right before I pulled the trigger, pull myself out of my pocket. I'm like, all right, owl's in Oregon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's protected. He's an endangered species.
Yeah.
Didn't kill him.
Well,
I let him go.
Good. Good for you.
But,
good. You have big old hooters up in that tree.
But I think he knew.
Nice set of hooters you got there.
Yeah.
He knew?
I think he knew.
They know.
Like,
yeah, they know.
I got to the bottom of the tree. He stopped hooting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why squirrels are all over the place. They're not protected.
Yeah, no.
They know they know that they got the strength in numbers. They're scared of people. They're all skittish. I hate squirrels. Squirrel guy's back in my neighborhood, by the way.
Again?
It's a big issue. Yeah, it's a big issue.
Is he putting nuts next to your house again?
Yeah, he's still going to the park.
Again, the answer to this is falconing.
What about on your drum set?
No, not on my drum set. Not on my drum set. My sister tried to gift us a drum set, and I said, no. That will not come into my home.
She has kids, right?
Yeah, well, I know. This is kind of
because she should know better.
She knows better, and she got them as a gift from our parents. She's like, hey, guess what? And I was like,
I've got my niece a guitar and a ukulele so far.
Yep. My daughter has a guitar and a ukulele.
You're going to get that all back when you have kids.
I mean, to be fair, I'll give my kids instruments.
My daughter starts like strumming the guitar, and I'll come in. I'll be like, "Hey,
want to go outside?
You want to get lessons?" And she's like, "No, I got this." I'm like, "Do ya? You got this?"
I saw Ferris Bueller with the clarinet.
Yeah,
never had one lesson.
I'm like, "We'll get you some lessons. Like, please, I beg you, get some lessons."
Play it more away from here.
Yeah, like, and when you do come back, hit me with something. Hit me with something good.
Give me that hot cross buns.
Yeah. Now that is ingrained in my mind. Kids
you
brought
do
home the recorder
immediately,
and I was still able to play hot cross buns, and I was pretty proud of that. I was proud that
took you a second to find it, and then
we got hot cross buns.
There
It was down. Seems pretty easy, but I think everybody has their go-to song, and mine's Hot Cross Buns on a recorder.
Little La Bamba.
Blew the kids away. Had no idea. They're like, Dad, we didn't know you could play an instrument. I'm like, yeah, the recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, play something else. No.
Nope. I busted out the sax solo from Baker Street.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
No.
I was going to say, Rust, do we need to have you play instruments and sing our opens now?
By play the saxophone, he meant to go full Homer Simpson and go saxophone.
Yeah, I think that it sounds about right. I could see Russ doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I am playing the saxophone.
I did actually play the sax in 5th and 6th grade.
I did too.
Did you?
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
One of our concerts, my solo was the Hill Street Blues theme.
Whoa. Yeah. What are the odds? How long would it take for you to get back up to speed to play that?
Give me a week.
You get a week?
I don't know.
Okay.
You think you can still work that reed like that?
How long until you could get back to playing in like a saxophone
Sax?
again? 5th, 6th grade?
Probably a couple months.
Couple months
About
and
2
you
months,
could do
yeah.
it?
I mean, I grew up playing guitar. I still play. Like that's the only thing that would be difficult, I think, would be getting the mouth work. Oh yeah, that's a drop. But yeah, no, like just like actually like doing that again and getting like breath control and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that'd be the hardest part.
Yeah. I have 0 musical talent.
I grew up playing a lot of
None.
instruments: guitar, sax, drums, piano,
Played the piano as a kid.
violin.
Yeah. I stopped playing the piano on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Just couldn't do it. 2nd grade. Done.
I can't sit down at a
Short-lived.
piano without playing Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh,
It's like ingrained in my brain.
okay.
Such a random one.
But it's a good one.
Mhm.
Harold Faltermeyer.
There you go. But yeah,
I watched has anybody seen the new Beverly Hills Cop on Netflix?
no, is it out?
It's been out for like
Oh.
3
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Oh,
I haven't finished it. I started it, but haven't finished.
well, I mean, I think
It
tells
makes
you
me
everything you
sad
know.
to say me too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was like, this is bad.
I
Right.
thought it was.
It was
coming
like I've
out.
seen this before, but you were way younger.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it just kind of lost
It had
a
one of
lit-
those.
lost a little bit of its juice. But the whole thing, and we shouldn't have been surprised by this, they said it's gonna be Beverly Hills Cop. They're going back to their roots. They did.
Mm.
Same cast, same jokes, older people.
Did they do the jokes that would get them in trouble? Or is that
Yeah, a
probably
couple of
what
them.
was
A
missing?
couple of them. But it still wasn't.
Mm.
Yeah. Ooh, I think that this is it. We need a Rust Christmas special sax edition. You need
sax special sax
to
edition?
with an X.
Yeah.
We need to
Well,
have.
I mean, they both have X's. One has an A.
Maybe we should do that. We have plenty of time to plan for it now.
Mhm.
We got 4 months. We have a Christmas musical.
Mm.
Right before Christmas, we have a Christmas musical.
There you go. We'll play it at the holiday party.
No, we're gonna play it on the air
Mm.
in front of a live studio audience. We're gonna bring in all of the sales folks,
There you go.
and we're gonna have a Christmas special.
Light some candles, dim the lights.
I feel really good about saying this because I have 0 musical talent, so it's you two carrying
Oh
this
no,
thing.
you can be here with your Christmas balls,
How about instead of
Yeah,
playing
I will.
that on the air,
your sweaty balls.
we play the I'll bring in the old Kenny G board game, keeping it sexy. We can play that live on the air.
I don't want to.
No.
And I'm also not surprised you have the
Yeah.
Kenny G board game, Keeping It Sexy.
Upset of the day, Kenny G mentioned twice in the first 2 hours of the show.
That is a Monday.
Mm.
All right.
Coming up next, the Washington Commanders finally get it right. Danny and Dusty, Tinny the Fan. Washington Commanders have a new quarterback, a new owner, and a new lease on life as they celebrate one of their franchise icons, because it's not franchise greats, because unfortunately the life of Sean Taylor was cut short far too soon before his greatness could really shine over a long period of time. When he was on the field, he was dynamic. He was a Hall of Fame caliber, destructive force of nature, unbeknownst to the NFL. What the Washington Commanders have done since his passing has been tragic itself. If you're unfamiliar, they had a memorial/homage to Sean Taylor, which was nothing more than a mannequin mocked up with wires. And it was atrocious and disrespectful. It looked like somebody put it together with $100 budget.
I think they did.
It was bad.
That was one of many missteps that we saw with Daniel Snyder owning that team. And now with new ownership in, Josh Harris seems committed to doing right by the fans and doing right by the former players and actually getting them involved back with the organization. And this is a great step because there have been a lot of really good Commanders players over history. Actually, not really good Commanders players, but prior to the name change, they had a lot of really good players that suited up for them.
As Commanders, the list is very short. As the Redskins, the list is very long.
It's very long. It's very long. And they're just trying to win that fan base over again. And I saw that they're also open to a new name change, and Harris came out and said, we're not going back to the old one for obvious reasons. But Commanders was a failure of galactic proportions.
Wolves, Red Tails, all of those.
Red Tails should still be it.
It's such a cool name.
Yeah.
It's, again, we talked about this last week, like the whole idea of like having a different name.
Yeah. HTTR, right? Hail to the Redskins used to be what they always used to say, and then you could still have that with Hail to the Red Tails.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
And it still kind of rings out. We were talking all about all of this because, well, the Commanders are going to do a statue for Sean Taylor. It's going to be designed in part with his daughter, Jackie, who was 18 months old when Sean Taylor was murdered in 2007.
Oh, my gosh.
It tells you how far and along and away we are from that event. 2007.
Yeah, because it was right after, remember the Pro Bowl hit where Sean Taylor, I don't know, ended Brian Moorman, the punter for the Buffalo Bills, in the Pro Bowl.
Oops.
Probably one of the most vicious hits, like that and Pete Rose at home plate in the All-Star game. The two greatest All-Star game moments that we've had. But it was also two guys where it's like, maybe tone it down a little bit. Yeah. But they had no other gear. It was
all the way
gear all day long. And I think that's really cool that they're going to bring his daughter in to help design the statue. You got to have it with the helmet, and the helmet has got to have tape all over the face mask. That's got to be number one. I don't know how you do that in a statue form, but that has got to be number one because he brought that swag in, and everybody and their mother tried to have the Sean Taylor, tape all over your face mask. That was dope. Have that. Have him just being a menacing figure because that's exactly what he was on the football field, and do it in statue form. It's awesome, and I hope they do it right. And I'm glad that the Commanders franchise is actually getting their S together.
Yeah, the Trav Sham mockery of the previous installation has been taken down.
Good.
And the Commanders have informed the Taylor family that, hey, that's the old owner. That's not us.
Yeah, they probably just threw that in the scrapyard.
Honestly, they probably threw it away.
Nobody would want it.
It was quite literally taped together, and had the wrong jersey, had the wrong cleats, like nothing. It was an Etsy, like the knockoff Etsy. It was like Temu.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor Memorial Kit.
It really was.
And it's like they asked somebody who had no idea.
Temu might be offended by that.
Right?
Even.
Wish.com's over here like, well, come on, man, we do better than this.
Yeah.
It was like if you asked somebody who had just found out about Sean Taylor to make a memorial.
Yeah.
That's the closest way I can put that.
But I mean, in fairness to that statue, that's kind of how Snyder ran the entire organization. It was like, hey, you just found out that you own a professional football team. How would you run it? And they said, okay, yeah, we can do that.
These are the numbers that are retired for the Commanders. Sammy Baugh, Bobby Mitchell, Sonny Jurgensen.
Those are pretty good.
Those are the only retired numbers. They're retiring one more this year. Do you know whose that is?
I would probably say
Think of the best
Green,
yes.
Darryl Green.
As I say, think of the best Redskins player.
Yeah.
Probably ever.
Yeah. Darryl Green is who you're going with on that. Yeah, I think that they probably should have retired Darryl Green's number a long time ago. Yeah, he was like 40 years old, like
still running a 4.40
and winning like they used to have 40-yard dash competitions at the Pro Bowl, and he'd win it like every year. He's an old ass man.
I think at 40 he actually might have run a sub 4.4.
Dang,
like
freak of nature,
just an absolute monster. But hey, there you go. The Commanders not being dumb.
Not being dumb. They don't have John Riggins' number retired.
No.
You think they would have done that?
Huh.
Weird.
I mean, there's a lot of numbers they probably should have retired, or at least Ring of Honored.
Like maybe they're Super Bowl winning
quarterbacks. Yeah, maybe Doug Williams up there.
Mark Rippon.
Yeah. But hey, or I don't know, maybe a little homage to Joe Gibbs.
They have to have Joe Gibbs honored in the stadium somewhere, right?
Put him in a NASCAR.
Put him in a
JGR.
NASCAR. Yeah, Joe Gibbs racing. Let's go. Woo!
But it also goes to show you it's not that hard to actually run a successful NFL franchise and not be stupid.
Yeah, that's
what I take from this.
That's a great point.
Like the bar for not being an idiot.
Yeah,
pretty low.
Pretty low.
Like,
and they tripped over that bar a lot.
Scoop
previously.
the crap up. Don't suck.
Perfect. I think that's an evergreen statement.
Right?
We could use that for a lot of things right there.
It's really quite simple. All right, coming up in hour number 3, it is our final round of the round of 32 college football rivalry trophies.
Ooh.
And then we will bang through these before the end of the week, and we get into week 1 of college football. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Hour number 3 here on a Monday afternoon on Danny and Dusty, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you, party animals.
The sun is back out, and we're back on, and it's the third hour heading into college football week, which means it is time to resume our bracket showdown for the best rivalry trophies in all of college football.
Oh,
We wrapped up Friday with
sounds so good.
with some bangers, and ladies and gentlemen, we have upsets.
Oh.
We have upsets. Upsets were had. Our first matchup featured the Floyd of Rosedale of Iowa, Minnesota against the Old Brass Platoon of Michigan State, Indiana. Floyd
Okay.
of Rosedale has walked away with this with a 69% win.
Whoa!
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about. It's got hate in its heart.
Pig in a blanket.
It is a fantastic trophy. I love it.
A closer matchup.
Racist governor.
That's true. Between the Shillelagh of Notre Dame Purdue, not the jeweled Shillelagh, and the Stanford Axe of Stanford Cal, 56-44 in favor of the Shillelagh. It's a shellacking.
A shillelagh shellacking,
Hey.
as some would say.
Between the Seminole War Canoe and the Golden Hat of Texas, Oklahoma,
Come on. Do right by the people.
the Seminole War Canoe moves on.
That is ridiculous.
The Golden Hat and
What
the
is wrong with you
and
people?
the polished spurs have both been upset.
God, and this one wasn't as close as I thought it would be.
56-44, the War Canoe wins.
Golly.
You disgusting animals, you picked the Platy over the Commander's Trophy.
Well, regional bias.
73-27.
Don't look at me. I supported the troops on this.
Disgusting.
The rivalry deserves a better trophy than the Platypus Trophy. Originality, it's an A. Execution, it's a C-.
Yeah.
Below average. It is average and below.
So he's get the
But it
degrees, though.
moves on. It moves on.
All right, our matchups today feature the Ram Falcon Trophy of Air Force Colorado State against the Cyhawk Trophy. It's the animals against each other.
That should be the winner.
Yeah,
The Ram Falcon should be the winner of this. The Cyhawk Trophy is not as bad as it once was.
Still not good.
The Ram Falcon is still pretty awesome. You have a Ram and a Falcon fighting each other. That's badass. And I believe it's made of rock, right? From the Rocky Mountains?
Yes.
There we go. That's
I'm in.
awesome.
The next matchup is a Big Ten showdown.
Ooh.
Notre Dame, Michigan State Megaphone Trophy up against the Land of Lincoln of Illinois and Northwestern.
Look, Megaphone got through because it was in a favorable matchup in the
Mhm.
first round. It should lose to the Land of Lincoln. It's a bronze
Top
Abraham
hat.
Lincoln hat. It's awesome.
Does it have a bullet hole in it?
Wow. No, because he'd still be alive if they shot his hat.
Well, I mean, it goes through.
I think he took his hat off because he was the
problem.
He was a man of culture.
You see, if he would have had his hat on, maybe he would have aimed higher.
He was a man
Looking
of
like a
culture, so he
cartoon.
took his hat off indoors.
Someone else who never took their hat off, Paul Bunyan, Michigan State, up against the bones of Memphis UAB.
This is a big matchup. This is an elite matchup. We've got I don't want to say 2 1 seeds, but 2 2 seeds, plucky 2 seeds going up against each other in the round of 32. I'm voting for the Ribs because it gives you an A for originality.
I mean, it is a bronzed rack of ribs.
And it's an A in execution. It looks phenomenal.
Fantastic.
And Memphis and UAB don't have a lot to play for. This trophy is worthy of them playing for all the marbles.
How this isn't
or all the
sponsored
ribs.
by a rib restaurant, one in Memphis
Ooh.
and one in Alabama or in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Or just covering both, the old I want my baby back.
Oh, Chili's. I don't think that's in their budget anymore.
Yeah, they broke. Also,
Know what I'm saying?
those are baby backs. These are full-on porks. Whoop, whoop. These babies are huge. And then our final matchup of the round of 32 features the Bell of Ohio Marshall up against the Jeweled Shillelagh of USC Notre Dame.
Boy, I'm going to go Jeweled Shillelagh here because the bell was also another favorable matchup. It's just a bell mounted on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
It's not great. But you got history, tradition with the Jeweled Shillelagh, Notre Dame, USC. It's a hotly contested rivalry. They put on a jewel if USC wins, a jewel if Notre Dame wins. it is because Notre Dame is a bunch of perverts. They've got a bunch of. It looks phallic in nature.
It's as phallic as it gets.
They play for 2 phallic-shaped rivalry trophies. I mean, get it together, Notre Dame. But I'm going Jules Shillelagh in that one. These are good matchups here. And
Good
this is
matchups
why
all the way
college
through.
football is great. We're going to start the round of 16 tomorrow. And I think we're going to get all of them done
We're going to get them
tomorrow.
all done tomorrow. It'll be 8 matchups tomorrow.
Oh, and then we have the 4 on Wednesday. Thursday, we have our championship round.
To unveil on Friday, going into college football opening weekend.
I'm excited. This has been a great exercise because we do know how much regional bias is put in place. But I'm going the Seminole War Canoe beating the Golden Hat. I still can't get over that.
No Golden Hat, no Spurs.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
But a saddle survives.
2 of the best trophies. Like I was kind of hoping we'd have like the assortment to choose from. It'd be like the saddle, the Spurs, the hat, and then like you need to throw like a lasso. I think you can't because gun culture, but like some 6-shooters.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
let them play for a gun.
Some polished 6-shooters.
Texas.
Yeah, like
Texas.
How could anybody be against that?
Yeah. All right. No. Well, I think a lot of people will be against it, but you're Texas. That's kind of what you do.
You do barbecue and guns.
Yeah, that's right. You do. Is
Texas more synonymous for either of those 2 things?
No, football.
But like you're
Football.
you're already football, so you're football, barbecue, guns.
Yeah, all 3.
And the basement at the Alamo.
That's right. Pee-wee's Great Adventure. That taught me that fall show.
That just has a different connotation nowadays.
Basement at the Alamo?
With Pee-wee.
Yeah. R.I.P. Paul Rubin.
Are we RIPing him?
Yeah, he's dead. I mean, just because that guy went into one of those movie theaters and did what I assume would happen in one of those movie theaters anyways.
Right.
You know?
We're going to crucify him for that.
I mean,
look, he had a bounce back. He was the hairdresser in Below. He was Pee-wee again.
Yeah.
I mean, and probably just lived off the royalties from Pee-wee's Playhouse, which was a great show.
Look, outside of that one slip up, relatively controversy free.
Boy, that would just be a blip on the radar these days. You know? That'd be just like, we'd be like, all right, moving on. You know, I've been Pee Wee Herman 3 times for Halloween in my life.
Yeah, you're not wrong, because what was the guy that was pulling it out on the Zoom conference?
The guy for the New Yorker.
CNN.
Jeffrey Toobin.
That's the one. Yeah, he's back.
But both a surname and a verb, apparently, for when he's on a Zoom call.
Hey-o. Toobin it.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, he's back on TV. How?
He just,
how?
Served his time, I guess.
I feel like that's a lifetime ban.
Yeah, well.
Not anymore. See, this is what I'm saying. Pee-wee would have gotten away with this. He was just 30 years behind his time.
All right, we're going to go dealer's choice here. You want to go baseball or you want to go college football?
Well, you know the answer is college football.
Right.
I am in college football heaven, but we do have good baseball.
We will get to the baseball stuff because there's some pretty interesting baseball stuff, as weird as that is this time of year. But we will keep it in the college football vein, taking a look at some of the most intriguing quarterback tiers and coaching tiers in college football. Danny Dusty, 10 the Fan.
Hello, sports fan.
Do you like this music?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Big fan
You
of
like-
Trivium.
Trivium. Not a band that's playing this weekend or anytime in the relative future, I don't think, here. But if you are a bit of a metalhead, Five Finger Death Punch, Death Pinch. What would you rather have, a Five Finger Death Punch or a Death Pinch?
I think a death pinch. That seems like it would go faster and it maybe would hurt less.
Slightly?
Yep, that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Final answer.
All right, fine. If you want to win tickets, though, it is August 31st at RV InStyle Resorts Amphitheater. You can text in now, 503-864-6326 for your chance to win tickets to Five Finger Death Punch, as well as, I believe, Marilyn Manson.
Oh.
Which, speaking of people that were canceled.
That man, I
thought he was
can't
canceled.
believe he's not I think he should probably still be canceled with things he was canceled for.
Interesting. Again, you can text PUNCH, P-U-N-C-H, to 503-864-6326 now to enter for your chance to win tickets to Five Finger Death Punch on August 31st at RV InStyle Resorts Amphitheater.
Let's go!
You can head to 1080thefan.com for complete contest details. Again, that's PUNCH, P-U-N-C-H, to 503-864-6326. And a winner will be selected from that group.
Let's go!
You know who else is in town this weekend?
Who?
Monday night. Little me first in the Gimme Gimmies.
How many times have you seen him?
This will be my second time.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you had seen them more.
Nope, just once, a couple years ago. Hopefully this time I don't get COVID.
Oh, you got COVID the last time?
Yeah.
Dang.
Worth it.
Okay.
Worth it. Worth it, huh?
Worth it.
All right.
All right. Well, heading into the college football season, just a few days away, Chris Vanini and Bruce Feldman of The Athletic dove in and tried for the third consecutive year to rank the FBS division head coaches in tiers.
Okay. I like this.
I do too, because I think it does kind of encapsulate a couple different things that we can kind of discuss through each level. In the tier 1, 2 coaches.
It makes sense. There's only 2 coaches in college football that have a national title to
With
their
Nick
name.
Saban retired and taking his litany with him.
And Jim Harbaugh.
Out, and no Les Miles. And you start going down the list, and it's like, oh, that's right. They've all left. That leaves Kirby Smart of Georgia and Dabo Swinney are the only current
college football coaches with a national title to their
with the
name.
exception of Mac Brown, who won it in the BCS division.
Yeah, that was so long ago that I don't think that's a counties, no counties.
Yeah, sure.
You're at North Carolina now, and
got
not Texas.
No.
And it's
Got a
been
fun
so
little
long
team.
ago.
Yeah, got a fun little team. But
20 years ago. None of the kids that you're recruiting right now were alive.
That's the insane thing.
When you won your national title. I think that is probably the clear indicator.
God, I hate that. But I agree with the list. Kirby and Dabo.
Yep. Tier 1, no-brainers.
Nobody
right
else is
now.
above that.
But, I mean, I think we could see, though, if Dabo takes a step back, I think that gives you enough pause. And there's plenty of pause and hesitation on Cole Klubnik, their quarterback.
And their inability or unwillingness to use transfers.
And with what is Dabo Swinney without Tony Elliott running his offense and Brenton Venables running his defense, we're now going to start to see these guys are cycled out. Again, Clemson is not a doormat by any means. They're not an easy out, but their reign of dominance, and it was a reign of dominance that Clemson had. They were so stinky good for so long. If you're not going to use the transfer portal, and they were the only team in college football outside of the service academies not to use the transfer portal, if you're not going to use it, you better win at a ridiculously high level. And if he does it again this year, then hell yeah, keep him up on tier 1.
And then it becomes like, oh, they really are doing something different there.
Absolutely.
Tier 2, Ryan Day of Ohio State, Kalen DeBoer of Alabama, Luke Fickell of Wisconsin, Brian Kelly of LSU, Lance Leipold of Kansas, Mike Norvell of Florida State, that might fall, Lincoln Riley of USC, and Kyle Whittingham of Utah.
Yeah, the one that sticks out to me in this that is kind of the outlier is Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Now, one thing that all of these guys have done, with the exception of Kyle Whittingham and Well, no, just Kyle Whittingham,
Whittingham.
And Lance Leipold
Made the CFP.
they are college football playoff coaches. Now, Mike Norvell didn't make it last year because Florida State got hosed. They went undefeated, but having an undefeated season, that's pretty good. Luke Fickell took Cincinnati to the college football playoff, and now he's been at Wisconsin. I think that might be your criteria of getting in there is taking a school like Cincinnati to the CFP. But at the same time, they got waxed.
When you think about it, it is a short list.
It's a very short list
of coaches who have been there. And then when you talk about coaches who have been there multiple times, Day, Kelly, Riley, in that list, those are the only ones?
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, can you believe Kyle Whittingham is entering his 20th season at Utah?
Yes.
Yes, I absolutely can.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Because it feels like he's been there forever, and he has been there forever. He's been so good there.
Just think of, some of these coaches, too, that we were talking about the coaches that have gone to the college football playoff and won a title. The list is really short of guys who have actually just even been there, period, too, because even if you go back, like Jimbo Fisher, when he won at Florida State, no longer coaching. Mark Helfrich took Oregon to the playoff, not coaching. Mark D'Antonio at Wisconsin or Michigan State, no longer there. And like it's a really short list of guys that have even gotten there. And I think that it kind of tells you the lightning in a bottle that Sonny Dykes caught at TCU year one, got him to the playoff and not in that second tier. His track record at Cal probably is what doomed him in that conversation.
So I thought it was an interesting list. I
think DeBoer and Lance Leipold deserve to be up in this tier. I know that some people will be like, but not with Kalen DeBoer and what he did at Washington. And Lance Leipold at Kansas is a phenomenal
to be able
coach.
to turn that program into a football program.
It was the worst college football program in the country.
Like Charlie Weiss left that thing in tatters, and then nobody followed through afterwards.
No, and you thought that it was going to be Les Miles, and you had fire Les Miles, and he never got that thing off the ground anyways. It was probably a good thing he got in all that trouble at LSU because it gave the golden parachute for Kansas to go out and find a guy like Lance Leipold who's won everywhere he's gone. He's a Division III coach that is now running his way through the Big 12. And look, Kansas very well could be a college football playoff team if they win the Big 12 this year.
Which is
Ryan Day might see himself tumble off the tier very shortly.
I mean, if they drop 2 games and one of those games is to Michigan and another one's a Big Ten title game, then pretty quickly. And he isn't always inherited a great team. He's never had at Ohio State a bad team. So it's a little bit different, I think, against the other coaches. The tier 3, I'm not going to name off everyone. I'm just going to couple of highlights. Jeff Brom at Louisville. Mac Brown does make this list at North Carolina. Troy Calhoun at Air Force. You kind of look at Cristobal is on this list. Drinkovitz at Missouri. Sonny Dykes, like you mentioned, at TCU. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. You scroll down, Mike Gundy, Lane Kiffin.
I'm surprised Kirk Ferentz wasn't a tier 2 bump.
Just because of much like Whittingham, where it's like continued greatness.
10 wins with the worst offense ever. But again, I guess tier 2 probably wouldn't have the worst offense ever.
Whittingham has managed to do it on the other side of the country and not have the worst offense ever. But you have Lane Kiffin, Josh Heupel, Mike Gundy, Chris Kleiman at Kansas State, and then Dan Lanning at Oregon. And I'm a little surprised here, but again, if they're going to put the stipulation on that the next group up is tier 2 is making the college football playoff, then this is accurate.
And Dan Lanning's a third-year head coach. Like, we also have to keep that into perspective of what Lanning has done. Now, he didn't take over an absolute dumpster fire like Lance Leipold did at Kansas. The cupboards were not bare by any stretch of the imagination. He has an incredible record for his first 2 seasons, but the argument could be made of the best teams that he has played, he has lost to. Georgia, and then 3 to Washington. Okay, you get over that hump, you can get up into that tier 2, and if Oregon has the season that many believe they will, he will be up in that second tier, and as will Steve Sarkisian, who took over another program that wasn't an empty cupboard when he took over Texas.
But they were in shambles.
They got to the college football playoff last year. He has stabilized themselves as being a recruiting power yet again. Sark, Lanning could very easily see themselves in the next year. Lane Kiffin, he could be a guy that he finds himself either going up or going down based on the results of this season, because it's a roller coaster with Lane, and he has a really good team. He is, if Dion wants to claim himself being the portal king, no. It's actually Lane Kiffin because of what he's able to do with the talent that he gets out of the portal and win a lot of football games that way. Mario Cristobal could see himself tumble pretty quickly. I think why we might see him, because game management has been a massive issue with Cristobal both at Oregon and at the University of Miami. If he doesn't have a good year this year, he could bump down, and if he doesn't, it's because of his relationship he has with Bruce Feldman, who went to the University of Miami with him at the same time. You know, those guys are thick as thieves. We could see Cristobal taking a tumble down this list if they don't have a good year in a really down ACC this season.
There are 8 tiers on this list. Jake Dickert is in tier 6.
And this is young coach, bad spot, bad situation with the reorganization of the Pac-12 and trying to be in a conference that's just trying to survive. You don't really know, and the verdict is still out on Jake Dickert. I really like Jake Dickert, but tier 6, I don't think anybody's going to get upset about that, because if he wins a boatload of games playing a hybrid Mountain West schedule, yeah, well, then you should probably say the dude has a little bit of staying power there and should work his way up.
The Bruce Lee of BS, Deion Sanders, also in tier 6.
Makes sense and could be way down.
And one that I'm sure was just got Oklahoma fans just all kinds of tickled pink. Brett Venables is tier 5.
He's had a lot of talent. And two mixed results. Oklahoma's going to be good this year, though. He has done a really good job of kind of reforming the identity of Oklahoma football from, Lincoln Riley and Bob Stoops, not Mark Stoops. Bob Stoops being an offensive, high-flying identity into defense, grit, old-school Oklahoma football. And they are positioning themselves to pop this season. And the results so far are not up to Oklahoma's expectations, because you could still recruit really well at a school like Oklahoma. And the expectation is you're in the college football playoff conversation. I think that's one thing that they do a really good job of in this list, is putting these coaches into tiers isn't just what the coach can do, but what are the expectations of your university as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that same tier with Venables in tier 5 is Brent Brennan at Arizona, right? Did a really good job at San Jose State, got them out of the dregs of, they were a bottom feeder in the Mountain West, and they were competitive in the Mountain West. Now he heads over to Arizona, where the expectations aren't very high, and he could see himself work his way up. Arizona might be a top 25 football team at the end of this season. Brent Brennan is a good coach, but the thing that he has done is he has surrounded himself with really bright offensive minds. And I'm just speaking from that side of the ball because I know a few guys on that staff down there. Super bright coaches. I mean, and then he's accented those super bright coaches with pit bull recruiters too. The expectations aren't very high because of its Arizona football, but Jed Fish gave them talent to work with. A lot of it left, but Noah Fafita, Tetsuo McMillan, those two guys stayed, and you're going to have a chance to win some games at Arizona. And Jed Fish, by the way, tier 4 at Washington, and I think rightfully so. He pops at Washington. They have a good year this year. And then they start building up their stacking recruiting classes. And Jed Fish could be a 3 or 2 guy. Oh God, you're not lying, but that sucks.
Oregon State and Trent Bray not listed, obviously, because he is not.
He's a new coach in this. Yeah,
he is not tiered in here anywhere.
Can't put the guys who haven't coached a game into a tier yet. I thought it was interesting. We saw in tier 7 though, Justin Wilcox at Cal.
Yeah, that is a little interesting.
This is Bruce Feldman's quote on tier 7. I think Justin Wilcox is a good coach with a really rough job. everything is such an uphill climb at Cal. I think if he was a head coach at Boise, he'd probably be a tier 3 guy. That is 100% true. And he, like Justin Wilcox, wanted a school with high academic requirements. Wisconsin is one of those. And he really enjoyed his time at Wisconsin because you recruit a different kind of player. The uphill climb at Cal being so tough is the academic requirements and the athletic department being in financial ruin. Being over $250 million in the red is never an enviable task for a head coach to look at. Brutal.
Tough place to be.
Tier 8, by the way, is all guys who are going to get fired. So, hot seat central. Tony Elliott at Virginia. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt.
I mean, does Don Brown get fired at UMass, though? Because they suck no matter what.
Yeah, you should probably just rip that Band-Aid out, though.
I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought process that they went through, though, on the Athletic, and go give it a read
because it's a long, in-depth read. Like, they have their justifications and reasoning behind basically everything.
And they said it. If Lanning goes to the playoff, he's a tier 2 guy.
Yeah, he's right up there
next year.
And then by defining the language, they cleared that up. But also, you have to kind of redefine it next year because there's 8 more teams in the playoff now.
You're dang right.
So that list is going to grow naturally. All right, coming up next, we will pivot to baseball because there's plenty to talk about in baseball. The pace of Aaron Judge and Ohtani, a 50-50 season. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Mariners took 2 of 3 versus the Giants over the weekend and still find themselves 4.5 games behind the Astros in the AL West with just 31 games left to play. Seattle hosting Tampa for a 3-game set starting tonight. Bryce Miller on the bump for the M's. Ryan Pepio for the Rays. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Meanwhile, the Astros start a 3-game set at the Phillies, who lead the NL East. Ronel Blanco and Zach Wheeler is your pitching matchup in Philadelphia. In college football, according to the depth chart released by the team, Giovanni McCoy has been named Oregon State's starting quarterback with Ben Gulbranson as the backup and Jabari Johnson as the number 3. NFL Network reporting the Cowboys and All-Pro receiver CeeDee Lamb have agreed to a 4-year, $136 million extension with $100 million guaranteed. He is now the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Multiple reports say the Packers are acquiring quarterback Malik Willis from the Titans for a 7th-round pick. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Browns running back Nick Chubb expected to start the season on the physically unable to perform list, meaning he'd be inactive for at least the team's first 4 games. The Chiefs have agreed to a deal with wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. He was in uniform and practicing with the team today. And the Seahawks have acquired outside linebacker Trevis Gibson from the Jaguars in exchange for a 6th-round pick, according to ESPN's Michael DeRocco. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Soup on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
going to pivot to baseball for a little bit just because what's going on in the baseball world right now is not unprecedented because Barry Bonds exists, but you have two players in Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani that are doing things that people not named Barry Bonds have never done before. You and I were going through this before the show and laughing at how ridiculous Barry Bonds' 2004 season was.
Dude, that season, I don't care if he was on steroids. It was the most incredible baseball season of all time.
So for those that don't know, the 2004 season when Barry Bonds was 39 years old and it was one of his, 7 MVPs? He finished the year with a 362 batting average with a 60.9 on base percentage, slugging .812 with an OPS of 1422.
Nuts.
1422, if you're wondering that number, it's the largest OPS of all time. This is a guy who had 120 intentional walks and 41 strikeouts. So
goodness gracious.
Again, he hit 362.
Just think of, like, we revere in Stephen Kwan, former Beef. He's having a fantastic year. He has 40 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the hit for contact guys.
Yes.
He has a 302 average. So the game of baseball
is just so different.
Has changed more than any other sport that we have. And this includes, like, the game playing more outside in, less contact in basketball. The evolution of the offensive game in football and protecting quarterbacks and it becoming a more passing-friendly game. If you look in just a 20-year window, what baseball has done and how much baseball has changed, it is dramatically different as a sport than it was 20 years ago. Because it's not just the fact you have hitters and striking out is not a problem anymore. Hitting for contact is a thing of the past. You're going for doubles or dingers now. It is the fact that now pitching has changed. Completely changed. More guys are throwing over 100 miles an hour than ever before. You have reliever after reliever, and baseball is now actively trying to change that because they're sitting there going, my gosh, we have so many pitchers and they're getting hurt because their bodies literally cannot hold up for multiple seasons of throwing over 100 miles an hour and having this much torque. Spin rate in the break of pitches has gone up exponentially over the last 20 years. And you go, it's a completely different way that the game is being played right now than it was before. We look back on this because of that year. You said Barry Bonds hit what, 363?
362.
362. Mm-hmm. In 2004.
Nobody in baseball comes close this year.
No, Bobby Witt Jr. is sitting like 340, 347 now. He must have had a good day today.
Leading
he's already played today. But you go, there are only in Major League Baseball entering today, there are only 8 players hitting over 300 in baseball.
And Barry Bonds is basically his starting lineup around him hit about 290.
There were 36 players in 2004 that hit over 300. There were, if you want to bump that down to 290, there were 57 players in 2004 that hit 290 for their batting average. This year in Major League Baseball, there are 16 players hitting 290.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
16.
That's
and you said
dramatic shift.
290 was basically the Giants roster then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys that were under, but you had Bonds at 360. You had Grissom was at like 298. Jeff Kent was, I want to say, like 320. Like they had the whole roster had hit for average, and they didn't strike out.
It's wild.
One guy with 100 strikeouts.
But this year, we're seeing Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are doing absolutely
bananas stuff. So this is a long roundabout way. If you're looking at your home run leaders right now, Aaron Judge is currently 51, Shohei Ohtani at 41. I've seen the Yankees push this as Aaron Judge is on pace to break his own record. The record they're talking about is the AL home run record. We are not going to acknowledge that. It does not exist. It is not real. It is not a home run record. Shut up, Yankees fans. It's stupid. But he's hit a lot of home runs, and he's been incredible. this point right now, he has got a 1.201 OPS, which is the highest OPS this far into the season since 2004 Barry Bonds.
It's nuts. And there's also a level of protection, and you mentioned how good the hitters were around Barry, but
it's not the same.
With this year and the way that baseball is being played now, good luck having the ability to walk Aaron Judge when you have Juan Soto there too.
If you rank by OPS, Aaron Judge leads baseball at 1201. Second is at 1035, Juan Soto.
Juan Soto.
So
pretty incredible. Those two guys are a vicious 1-2 punch. And that just goes to show like how just flummoxing their pitching staff is.
You just saying just not good?
Well, starters are good, but their back end bullpen is really bad.
Yeah.
They blow a lot of games they have no business losing. And I mean, they still lead the AL in wins.
Did you see the clip this weekend of the bleacher creatures chanting out "Resign Soto"?
No, they need to.
So they did, and
throw that money at him.
It had a 2 box of Soto and Judge, and Judge kind of looked at him with like, huh?
No.
He's like gesturing to the crowd, gesturing to him, like, maybe you should.
Maybe we should do this.
And Judge got paid, so.
Yeah, Juan Soto should get paid too.
And Judge has been healthy, and again, the numbers that he has this year: 333 average, 51 home runs, 122 RBI, 106 walks with 135 strikeouts, which, considering the power that he plays with, is incredible. 333 average, 736 slugging, 1201 OPS, and it wouldn't even be Barry Bonds' worst MVP year.
Yeah, if you were to take this, so Judge, he can hit 60 home runs again this year. He's at 51.
He's on pace. He's on pace to hit 65.
If he gets to 65 home runs, that is an incredible season.
It's a top 10 season probably in Yankee history.
That does not even come close to touching what I think would be the most impressive feat that we have seen. Shohei Ohtani has 31 games left. He joined the 40-40 club over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He could have a 50-50 season, the first one we have ever seen in baseball history.
Mm-hmm.
A 50-50 season, and then if he comes back next year and pitches again, we could see quite literally the most dominant performance at the plate and running the bases, and a pitching career where his career ERA is like 2.32.
Yeah.
The best baseball player ever.
And as much as Bonds is the best hitter of all time, which he is, he's the best hitter in baseball history. Power, average, until his late career, run the bases. Barry Bonds is the guy. Shohei, because he's pitching, goes to a whole other level. It's impossible to truly like. What I love about baseball and base running coming back, your two steals leaders are Ellie De La Cruz, who's 6'6", 220, and Shohei Ohtani, who's 6'4", 230.
Yep.
This isn't Ricky. These are just monster dudes who are just freaks.
Swiping bags, baby.
And the crazy thing is, Shohei's stolen 40 bases, only been caught stealing 4 times.
And look,
that's nuts.
This is exactly why making the bases bigger is a good thing for baseball, because prior to last season, right, the 40-40 club only had 4 members: Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Alfonso Soriano. The last person to do it was Soriano in 2006.
Good God.
Last year, Ronald Acuna, he had joined the 40-40 club. This year, Shohei Ohtani joins the 40-40 club, and we could see a 50-50 club. And the bases being bigger, it was a small change that could lead to big results in how much more fun the game is. More action all around the base pass, which goes back to this game has changed so much more than what we knew and what we saw just 20 years ago. It's crazy. If Ohtani gets to 50-50, floored.
Is that more impressive to you than if let's say, Judge finishes 330, 65, 140?
Yeah, I think it is, just because the ability to hit and swipe those bases. And look, I just think Shohei Ohtani, like as an all-around baseball player,
terrifying.
I'm in awe of him.
And again, Judge is at 122 ribbies right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And look, Ohtani hitting 292 20 years ago, people are like, well, he's only hitting 292.
Like,
now you're like, oh, he's got top 15 batting average as well. Oh,
it's nuts.
Not bad.
All right, coming up, we'll wrap up today's show with a little fun with audio. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. It's one of those weird shows where in between breaks, I'm just like looking up random bits of history about Egypt because I've got ancient history stuff going on the monitor.
This is one of the weirder things that you've done here, Danny, is that you have turned the TV that you watch into the History Channel TV. And you're watching a lot of Egyptian history, and you're saying some pretty wild things that have zero context because the TV is behind my head. And you're like, why do they got a naked child there? Well, look at that naked kid. And I'm like, what?
It was a tapestry of an Egyptian, an Egyptian temple or pyramid, and this little person had a huge hog. Look, man, they did it in the drawing. It's a little person with a.
So like things like that are being said with zero context, with zero context here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I look over, and you're rewinding the TV, so I have to see this
so you have the
hieroglyphic
concept of what I'm talking about.
Of this child, and I'm going,
what the hell is going on?
Yeah. So the U.S. Open's on TV right now, too.
You know what I'm not going to watch?
What?
Tennis.
Yeah, no.
What did I say when we started today's show?
They are going to force feed us U.S. Open tennis all week long. This is called football week.
No part of it.
No,
none. So it's either that or some gambling show. And so I'm like, screw this. I'm throwing on the History Channel.
I might be in on that.
Yeah, see,
might be in on that.
It's a little bit of fun. Speaking of some fun, Rust, you told me you found this one of old Snoop-a-Loop.
Yes,
and it's just dumb and fun.
You're in this costume?
That's me inside of there.
That's me inside of there. And that's me inside of there.
And do you wear this when you leave the party?
No, I stay him all night. What happened was when I first started going to my grandkids' parties, the parents would rush me in. Oh my God, it's Snoop Dogg, let me have a picture. So I had to figure out a way to take Snoop Dogg out of the party. So whatever the theme of the party was, I was gonna come as the costume. As soon as the kids see me, oh my God, it's Buzz Lightworth or whoever I'm dressed as.
Buzz Lightworth, huh?
Yeah, confusing Buzz Lightyear and Mrs. Butterworth.
The pictures he is showing Jimmy Fallon on the Jimmy Fallon show on NBC because Snoop got paid $9 million for Olympics coverage, and they're like, now that you're stateside, you have to go on all of our shows.
Yeah.
And he's like left shark. He was a giraffe. The little guys from Toy Story aliens that are in the claw machine.
The claw.
He dresses up in like inflatable costumes when he goes to his grandkids' parties. And now I want Snoop Dogg to come to my birthday party in an inflatable. Absolutely. I mean, the costumes are high, and so is he.
I was going to say, how much do you think he's hotboxing that son of a gun?
Yeah, I have a feeling that is very true.
Get the vape going in there.
There is